All right. Hello, everyone. I am so sorry. I've been trying to get on and get this computer going. And as you can see, I was trying earlier to go live and wasn't to my specification. So I had to abort. All right. So I am truly blessed to be here this afternoon to share a word of encouragement with you and the daily thought for today. And I must say that God has been truly, truly good today to all of us, not just myself, but to all of us because we are here. And so, let me get my computer right. I'm so sorry. All right, that's a little better. As you can see, I am embracing my gray hair and I'm loving it. I give God the glory for the natural things of life. Let's have a cup of tea. Today, I want to share a little bit of what happened to me last year in September and what caused me to kind of like just cease coming on for a while. I needed to get some things going and get my health right. And things were going downhill pretty fast, and I needed to kind of refocus. Um, in September of last year, as a matter of fact, even before September, I think it was in June, I decided I was in Belize, um, living in Belize temporarily, and I decided to come back to the US to visit with my family and also do a quick mission trip back to Belize. And so I came in June of 2022 back from Belize, and I started to plan a mission trip. There was a great need for the children there in Belize, and I wanted to be of assistance to them. And so I decided to start, compiling things together to take back to Belize with me in September. And God was good. I was able to put quite a few things together. Barrels, I think I took home about 16, maybe 17 barrels, home with school supplies and clothes and shoes and all sorts of things for the children there in Belize and in Kaya district. And God provided all the needs, and um, my other sisters and brothers in Christ were not available at the time to help me with this mission trip as far as getting the things there physically. But God opened those doors and we were able to get the things there. And I went back to Belize. Uh, as a matter of fact, it was September the 2nd, and all of the barrels and everything, and myself. And we were able to do mission there um, for the children in Belize for the whole month of September. As a matter of fact, they had a crusade going on at the time. And so everything that we brought um, that was donated was a true blessing to the children and families in Belize in September of last year. Now, while I was there, not too long after, I think it was the third, might have been the second or third week in September, I started to feel a little sick. I wasn't sure what was going on with me because many of you know that I've been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had chosen not to do the contemporary treatment. I decided to go um, alternative. That means I did have the surgery, I did have the lump removed, but I decided after a lot of prayer and trust in God to not go towards getting chemotherapy and radiation. And so I decided to start applying the laws of health. I went away to a lifestyle center. My surgery was done in 2000. I was diagnosed in 2020. I had the surgery at the end of somewhere in the middle or the end of October in 2020. And I went away at the end of 2020 to a lifestyle center, an Adventist lifestyle center. And I wanted to learn how to cook for myself. I wanted to learn how to um, apply the laws of health. And I was impressed to uh, go and learn these things in order to care for myself. And so after I returned from that lifestyle center in 2021, I decided to go to Belize and remain there for about a year. It was 8 months after I had the surgery. I noticed that there were two small lumps coming back right in the area where I had the surgery, where they removed the first lump. Two small lumps. And I noticed that as time went on, they would get bigger and bigger. Um, I wasn't fearful. I continued to do what I needed to do. I was taking quite a few herbs and uh, applying my hydrotherapy and exercising and applying the laws of health as much as I knew how. And so I noticed these two lumps, they would, you know, change. There were days when, or there were times when they would grow to a bigger size. And then I would start applying the hydro and the different things, taking the different herbs, and sometimes they would, go back in. So it didn't stop me from continue my alternative treatment. I have already spoken to the Lord about it, and I decided that, it don't matter what happened, I will continue to trust God. He is the great physician and He is the great healer. He has given us all the things that we need to uh, apply to our lives in order to bring healing. And I knew at the time that God can heal me, but also it is up to Him whether He healed me or not. And so I had to continue to have faith in Him no matter what the circumstances that presented itself to me. So I wasn't sick. I didn't get sick, even though these two lumps they grew right up under the incision, one to the left and one to the right. Um, I was not sick in bed for per se, weak and have no energy or anything like that. I just continued to, live from day to day, trust in the Lord, much prayer, doing what I need to do to bring healing to my body, mind, and soul. Now, I was there in Belize all the way through 2021, came home for a couple of visits and then went back. And then, like I said, I came in September of 2022. And God already had some plans in work, unbeknownst to me. But I decided to go back in September. I wasn't sick at the time, did the mission. But in the middle of September, after I returned to Belize, I woke up one day and I had a lot of, how should I say, I was shaky, shaky. Um, I was shaky and jumpy. There were times I felt, I can't even describe the feeling, but I knew that my body was like going through something. During during all this time, I my immune system was strong and fighting, and so this I can tell was something totally different. So I you know, uh, made a couple of trips to different hospital there in Belize to check and see what was going on. And I was told I was dehydrated. I was dehydrated, and they gave me IV. Basically, that was it, and sent me home. But the feeling was just beyond my own comprehension. It was just a feeling that I've never felt before. Like my whole body did not belong to me. In the meantime, the two lumps, they did not bother me as much as what I was feeling on the inside. So, to make a long story short, my family decided, okay, you need to come home. You need to come home and get checked out at the doctor here in the US. And so they began to make arrangements for me to travel home. In the meantime, I decided to visit a private hospital there in Belize because I was still experiencing weakness and shakiness, and even my nerves seems to be, you know, off. And so a week before I was to travel, I went to a private hospital there in Belize, and I remember the doctor asking me, um, when I went in to see him, I explained the situation, what was going on with my body, how I was feeling, and he wanted to know, did I have any underlying um, conditions? And I said, yes, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And he asked me what happened. I told him about the surgery and that I decided not to do chemotherapy and radiation. And he opened his eyes and he was like, what? He said, where can you show me? I showed him my breasts, and the lumps, they were at a nice size at the time. And I showed him the lumps, and he just kind of like freaked out. He was like, I can't believe that, you're walking around like this. And he said, you know, I know you decided to go alternative, but this don't look good. And I have to run some tests on you to make sure that this is not what's causing you to feel the way that you're feeling. And so I agreed, and we had some tests done. I had I think it was an MRI where they put the dye in you and they were able to look at the entire body. Mind you, the week before I went to see this doctor, I was still taking all my herbs. As a matter of fact, I decided to kind of like detox my body. So I was taking a charcoal. I drank charcoal. And there were other things that I was taking. And so he did a test on me, and the test came back. Oh, before he did that, he decided to take some blood work on me. And he said, we need to see what's going on with your blood work. I did explain to him I was scheduled to travel back to the US in a few days. And he said, well, if your blood work don't come out right and you're still weak and dizzy, I can't allow you to travel. That didn't sit well with my family, but we'll go into that at a later date. But um, he did what he had to do. He did ran the tests, and my blood work came back fine. Everything looks good. So he decided to do a MRI, which we did. And the doctor um, called me in the office after the MRI test came back, and he said, that's why I don't agree with these holistic doctors, these alternative doctors, because don't you think if they had the cure, we would be using it here? He said all of them should be put into jail for saying that they can cure cancer, you know, and mind you, that is not the case. It's not that they can cure, because cancer, you have to find the cause in order to find the cure. There's something that caused you to get where you are, and I understood that. Obviously, he didn't. And so, and he said, so what I'm looking at on your breast is that this cancer may have spread all over your body, um, and now you're in a condition where we can't even do chemotherapy or radiation if we wanted to, because you allowed this thing to go so far. So I just looked at him, and he said, um, I believe that this have gone further than it needed to, it's probably spread to your lymph nodes and to your other organs and things like that. At this time, I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't stressed out about the situation because I know who I serve. I serve an awesome God. And I know that God knows my beginning, He knows my end, He knows my rising up, and He knows my lying down. And so, even though I wasn't feeling well, I was sick and all that, I know from the bottom of my heart, or I knew that my life was in His hands. And so, um, He said, you need to come back on Friday. And if you're not feeling well, I may not be able to have you travel. If not, um, if you're feeling well, I'll give you a letter so you can travel. But I do believe that your cancer has gone way beyond um, us even wanting to do chemotherapy and radiation on you, which I didn't ask for anyway. So I said, okay. And he said to me, he said, Miss Leonard, I don't think you understand the enormity of what I'm saying to you. And I said, okay, doc, I do understand. I say, I serve an awesome God. And God knows my beginning, my end. He knows my rising up, my lying down. He knows everything about me. So there's no fear in my heart based on what you have just told me, because there's nothing I can do to change whatever is going on in my body. But I know if I'm obedient and I'm doing what I need to do, then God will do what He needs to do. And he said, thank you for clarifying that. So I'm going to stop there. And I will share with you guys another day what happened to me after that doctor visit when I came back to the US and what's going on with me now. But I give God the glory because, you know, um, I see His hands of mercy. And I've seen Him brought me from where I was there in Belize, a total case that needed intervention. But I believe I didn't need a doctor's intervention. I needed a spiritual intervention. But God knew what He was doing and He brought me back. So that's my little update on what happened to me uh, within the last year, why I I stopped coming on. And it wasn't the fact that I um, wanted to stop, but I needed to pull it together and give it to the Lord in prayer, trusting Him in every aspect, because I know that any healing that I claim or I'm trusting that God will deliver in my life, it comes from Him, not from man. And so, I want to share, and I'm going to get off and I'm going to come back on and share because I don't want the video to be so long. But I wanted to get on and just share a little bit of what's going on with me. Um, and I give God all the glory for the work that He's doing in me and through me. And I'm trusting Him every step of the way in this journey that He has led me on. I'll be right back on.